Alright guys, I am going to start this back up again. Sorry I haven't recorded it in a while. It just wasn't working for me when I tried to record it, and I just had a bunch of issues with it. But yeah, let's just get back into it, and sorry if I sound weird, I just woke up, and that's just how I sound. But alright, one flight of stairs up and I run into problems. The second floor hallway is a carbon copy of the third floor one. Wide, of course, and plain like only hallways can be. The problem is that the library's whereabouts are not as easily determined as one would think. The classrooms are marked with signs stating which class they belong to, but then there is a plethora of other unmarked rooms. Is the library one of them, or is it just somewhere down the hallway? I bet on the latter and choose my direction at random. After I turn around the corner, an unmarked door draws my attention because it's not closed. It's not open either, though, just barely ajar so that I can see it's open and nothing else. It would make sense for the library door to be invitingly open, and while this one is not quite that, it's good enough. At the very least, it means that someone is inside and I can ask for directions, no matter how embarrassing that is. I gingerly push on the center of the door with my fingertips, every muscle in my arm ready to pull back at a moment's notice. The feeling of being an outsider to this school can't be shaken from my mind, so much so that I instinctively fear doing something wrong by entering. That was really loud. Alright, the door slowly creaks as if groaning from a deep sleep, though it was much easier to open than I'd anticipated. Leaning over and poking my head ever further inside to gain sight of the room as fast as possible, the meek hello on my lips is quickly snatched away. Aww. This is not as I was expecting. I mindlessly let the door open to its full extent, taking in the sight of the solitary figure taking center stage in the otherwise abandoned room. The situation stills my voice, leaving me standing at the doorway, staring at the beautiful girl. And evidently having taken her time to assess the situation, the girl gently puts down her teacup and opens her eyes, but doesn't look at me. Hello there, may I help you? Staring directly in front of herself, the movements of her lips seem to break the silence rather than the words. However, it's the soft, measured voice that reminds me she's a being separate from the room itself. Not only is she likely the tallest girl I've ever laid eyes on, but even among the foreigners I've met, she's strikingly distinct. Hi, sorry for intruding, I was just kind of lost. She takes a moment to formulate a response before speaking. Every action she takes feels as if it's carefully choreographed beforehand. Care to take a seat? Unexpected, considering that I'm intruding upon her. Thanks. I slowly step towards another seat opposite her, the girl resting the teacup and saucer on the wooden table in between. The way she doesn't track my movements with her head is telling that, and the slightless cloudiness... Sorry, like I said, I just woke up. And the slight cloudiness to her eyes means she must be at least partially blind, like Kenji. Come to think of it, her voice doesn't have any detectable accent either. I guess she must be half Japanese. As I take my seat, her composure takes me slightly off guard. Her air of relaxed confidence makes the silence entirely comfortable. She doesn't look half Japanese. I mean, alright. The calming atmosphere is so very different from the student council office. I take it you're a new student to Yamaku? Yeah, I just transferred in yesterday. I get the distinct feeling my speech patterns don't match the formality of hers, accentuated by her restrained bow of greeting, one which I hasten to match before realizing the futility of the action. I'm Lily Satao, pleased to meet you. Hisao Nakai. She gives a nod before gesturing roughly in the direction of her teacup. Would you care for a drink? Sure. As much as it pains me, I can't keep step with her formality in the proceedings. She gives a kind nod, taking the request in stride. Without another word, she steps off the chair and prepares a second cup of tea from a collection of supplies laid out along a shelf. A brush here, a brush there, her left hand often lightly touching the side of whichever container she's pouring into. It seems to be a process she's followed dozens of times before. As I lean sideways to see around her back, she seems to use her long, dainty finger to measure the right amount of water in the cup. It's one thing to see the different disabilities the students in my class have, but it's quite another to see how everyone seems to adapt. Shizune and Misha have no problem working together to communicate to me, and Lily herself seems to have workarounds for problems I'd never thought of. While I feel slightly guilty about her doing the work, she seems pleased to be following the correct process of the offer of preparing the drink. So, her soft voice brings me out of my silent observance. Which room were you looking for? It's not often this classroom is visited after school. The school library. Shizune and some classmates told me it was on this floor. She finishes pouring the water into the teacup as she nods, a small metallic tapping coming from the teacup indicating it being stirred. I'm aware of Miss Hakamichi, as are most students. To be with them means you're in class 3-3, no? That's right, in the science room with Muto. She gives a small giggle before setting down the teaspoon and slowly walking towards the table, teacup and saucer in hand. He's quite a character. I imagine you'll come to like him. Most do. Oh, that's us. Oh, look at our hair. Well, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. I guess I'll say it. I was gonna say, at least she can't see that her hair is out of place, but that's really wrong. Okay. As she sets down the tea, I gently take it and have a sip. I'm really more of a coffee person, but this seems like a rather bad moment to bring it up. Nonetheless, the smell is quite nice. I hardly think it'd be hard to choke down. Thanks, Satao. It tastes really nice. So I guess in Japan, they say the last names first? I don't know. Somebody tell me. I don't know. Okay, she smiles and quickly waves her hand in front of her face. Lily, please. There's no need to be too formal. Oh, the way I read that, it was like she was calling him Lily. Okay. She says this in spite of her exceedingly well-bred speech. Oh well. I guess I should try and ask her about herself, as it really does seem as if she's catering to me. So which class are you from? I imagine it's one of the third-year classes. Correct, I'm in class 3-2, which is on the third floor, same as yours. It's taught by Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi? And is specifically for both blind and partially blind students. I see. Sorry. I feel like slapping myself for the faux pas. Looking at her face, though, she doesn't seem in the least bit put off by it. My, there's no need to change your speech on my account. Sure, sorry, I guess I'm really showing my newness here. An environment like this would be a big change, so I can't fault you for it. While the same can't be said for everyone, many have come to terms with their conditions. A category which would include her, it seems. All too ready to jump ship from this particular topic, I segue into another. Do you come here to drink tea often? It's a really nice place. Thinking on it, this might be her version of the place behind my school that I like to have lunch at. I come here fairly often during lunchtimes. My duties as class representative don't leave enough time for an official club, so a friend and I use this room for having tea. Class representative, huh? Compared to Shizune, her mannerisms seem to be almost completely opposite. While Shizune is blunt and fiercely driven, Lily seems relaxed and calm, almost aloof. Come to think of it, she might be useful for a less biased view of the school's clubs. What kind of clubs are there to join? The more popular ones are the track and field club, which uses the field near the school during lunchtimes, the baseball club, and the book club in a room near the library. There are also numerous small ones too, though, such as the art and music clubs. At a time when I'm just wanting to get on my feet, rushing into a club right away seems slightly unappealing. I wonder if this school shares the same rule as my old one. Is it compulsory to join a club? It isn't, though it is encouraged. Good. That's a relief. I've really let down my guard around this girl to let such a thing slip out. The fact seems to slightly amuse her. Oh? Okay. Not wanting my tea to get cold, I finally start drinking it as Lily does the same. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. This is like the cutest game ever already. Okay. As I look over to the window over her shoulder, I notice the light coming into the room has a distinctly orange tint. Even here, time doesn't stand still. The time's gone quickly. Sorry? Right, she's blind. Of course she can't see the sun setting. It just looks like the sun's starting to set. It seems to come as a surprise for her. I guess she must have lost track of time. Like us. Okay, sorry Hisao, I didn't mean to keep you from the library for so long. I quickly moved to allay her concern. No, it's okay. The library's still open, isn't it? She pauses and takes a moment to think on it. It's probably something I should have asked Shizune when I had the chance, but Lily seems likely to know in any case. True, it's open until 6:30 during weekdays. Wow, a school library is open that long? What an awesome school. Okay, well, I guess since they live on campus it should be. It should be open later. Whatever. Okay, a quick glance at my watch confirms I have well enough time to get there. I might get going in that case. It's been really nice talking with you, Lily. She smiles and gives a deep nod, her hands still neatly folded on the table in front of her. It was my pleasure. Oh, come to think of it, shall I show you where the library is? I couldn't possibly ask for more help. I should be able to find it all right. Well, unless my navigational skills fail me, which they seem to have a habit of doing. It's alright. I was going to be talking to the librarian there in any case. I could introduce you. This gets better and better. It's pretty hard to deny her offer. If you're sure, then that'd be great. Thanks. Aww. As she stands up to follow me, she takes hold of a straight, retractable cane that had been slipped in the handle of her bag on the floor. Compared to the cane the boy in my class had, Lily's looks much thinner and longer. His must be for support, whereas Lily's is for navigation. Together we leave the peaceful room and enter the empty hallway on the way to the library. Side by side, my pace carefully slowed to match hers, we slowly walk through the hallway. It doesn't take too long for us to arrive at the door to the warm-looking room, apparently situated in the center of the floor rather than either wing. Ladies first. She gives an appreciative smile at the gesture, taking the lead as we file in. To the left is the wooden library counter, with the library proper being on the right. It easily dwarfs my old school's library, with the distinct smell of old books giving the place an almost old-world air. I freaking love the smell of old books. There's like a book I bought, and it's called S, and it smells like an old book, and I love it. That's why I bought it. Okay. There don't seem to be a lot of students here. Considering the time, it isn't a big surprise. Everyone's probably either in the school's grounds or the dorms. Yuko, are you here? She says it to thin air since the librarian doesn't seem to be present, and of course Lily can't see this. What's unexpected is that it draws a reaction. Oh my gosh. Okay, something from under the counter thuds against it, followed by a quiet wail. Aww. The origin, apparently the librarian, quickly crawls out and bounces up to extremely rigid attention. Hi Lily, how can I help you? Her voice is strained in a failing attempt to sound casual, and she's rubbing the back of her head. Good afternoon, what happened just now? I heard a strange sound. She hit her head, Lily. Okay, it's nothing, I just hit my head. Yep, I know. Okay, see, I dropped an eraser under my desk, and while I was looking for it, a pencil dropped, and when I was looking for both of them, you came and surprised me. Wow. Life story. Are you alright? I'm sorry, I couldn't know. It's okay, sorry for making you worry. This is nothing, I've had worse happen to me. She's quick to reverse Lily's apologies, almost frantically trying to push aside the possibility that she could be in any way inconvenienced by bashing her head on the counter. Yes, worse things have happened. Hee hee hee. The girl fidgets with her fingers as Lily doesn't seem to drop her concerned expression, and then she shuffles some papers around the counter for no reason. For no reason? Okay, a little shorter than Lily, replete with glasses, freckles, and a very troubled look, she seems to fit a library perfectly. Sorry. Okay, perfectly. Lily, did you get my message? Message, Oh, the 2 imported books that arrived? Right, they finally came. I can't believe it took so long, but amidst her celebrations, partially for managing to change the topic, I'm sure, she notices me from the corner of her eye and freezes on the spot when she does. Oh no, I'm sorry for not noticing you before. Did you need to check out a book or return one? I'm sorry. Woman? You're crazy. The way she can so quickly shift between moods is a little unsettling. Yes, it is. He's with me, Yuko. This is Hisao, a new student. Hisao, this is Yuko, the school librarian. Pleased to meet you. Hisao, right, Hisao. Pleased to meet you too. Hisao. Wow. For a second, she visibly attempts to engrave the name on her mind so she won't forget. Yuko often arranges to import foreign books in Braille for me. Would you like to tell Hisao a little something about the library? Lily's innocent suggestion is met with an expression of abject terror. Please, Lily, I can't. I don't know what he could be interested in. This is too much responsibility. How it's any responsibility at all, I don't get, but her objection is so sincere, I don't doubt for a second that she would rather disembowel herself on the spot than tell me where the light novels are. But, so, there's a lot of books in Braille here. I attempt to save the day by asking the first thing that pops into my head. It seems to work at least partially, as Yuko seems to not exactly relax, but at least look slightly less tense. Well, I think about a third or fourth of Yamaku's library is either in Braille or audio. Makes sense, given all the blind students that'd be here. If it's only that, how come the library is so big in the first place? Well, we get a lot of new books regularly because the library is adequately endowed. That's probably why. They spend more on new books than on my salary. And, gosh, I can't believe somebody would say that. And then I have to organize and shelve all of them. It's so troublesome and they waste so much. I wish I could quit this job. My gosh. A very awkward silence follows this revelation of too much information. I'll go check the aisles then, if you don't mind. It's probably best for all of us if she doesn't keep talking to me. Very well. Meanwhile, Yuko and I would have those books if it's alright with you. My first impression was right. The library is surprisingly big. Ambling down the narrow aisles, I studied the spines of the books in random order, occasionally sliding one out to read the blurb, taking it with me if it looks good. In a few moments, I have a respectable stack of books in my arms. I guess I'll never be stuck for choice in here. The normality of the library sinks in. Sure, there are large print and Braille books scattered throughout, but it is what it is, a library. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lily is snuck in here with us. Oh, okay. I read that so wrong. It's as if the calm mood from the room I had tea with Lillian snuck with us in here, unless it was here to begin with. Something about that puts me at ease, just like before. I reach the end of the aisle and find a collection of desks set up for study or personal reading. Going a little further, though, I discover a nice quiet corner at the back. While the rest of the library has the odd student sitting at the desk either reading or stealthily sleeping, the back is pretty much deserted. As I glance around, I see someone who I recognize sitting on one of several beanbags. Is it Kenji? No. Yeah, that's that girl that randomly popped up. Okay. It's the dark-haired girl from my class, the one who snuck out of the classroom earlier. She's reading a book, keeping it close to her face, which makes her look like she's really into it. From the way she was acting today, I had her pegged as more of a delinquent than a bookworm. In fact, her mysterious disappearance from the class raises all sorts of whys in my head. Yeah, it really does. Alright. Okay. Intrigue floats slowly but surely towards the surface, and before I know, I'm walking towards the mysterious long-haired girl. I guess there's no harm in introducing myself as I would with anyone else. She's a classmate after all. Walking over to another beanbag, I take a seat and lay my books beside it. What? Okay. The girl starts, looking scaredly up at me from underneath her fringe. This is the first time I've seen her this close. Underneath her long, dense bangs, I can see that part of her face, at least a third of it, if not a half, is pretty badly scarred. My eyes are immediately drawn to the scars. Don't look at them, that's so rude. Okay. Subconsciously peeking past her hair until they meet her own eyes. For a second, I am shocked and divert my eyes to the book in her hands, before I realize that looking away probably only makes it worse. It takes too many seconds to collect myself and remember what I walked up to her for. I'm gonna say I didn't mean to startle you. She seems spazzy. Sorry, I didn't mean to startle you. It's okay. Okay. The girl certainly doesn't look like it's okay, but I let it slide. So, do you mind if I sit here? She seems to be very uncertain whether it's okay or not for me to sit, but finally she nods just a little. Okay. I take the seat next to her, and she hides herself behind her book. Life of Pi, never heard of it. So, sorry again for startling you. I'm Hasao. She looks up from her book, stalling a little before replying. I know. We're in the same class. Her speech is stilted and so quiet that it's barely audible even in the still library. Somehow I think that my delinquent impression of her was wrong. Hanako. I'm Hanako. Aww. I resist the urge to say that's a nice name, just to have something to say, but really, it's the only thing that I can think of. I feel like an idiot. Everyone here must be used to being different to each other, and here I am being all bothered and fussed about that kind of thing. Don't let me interrupt your reading. I'll just check these books if you don't mind. She nods a little and sighs a little sigh of relief. So I try to read the covers and all the introductions of the books I picked up, and she buries her face in her book. Uncomfortable silence consumes us. My eyes still wander to her direction, and I sneak peeks at her flowing hair and the scars it's hiding. That's so mean. I would never do that. Okay. After a while, I realize that she's doing the same and only pretending to immerse in the life of Pi. Her gaze is not inquisitive at all, though. It darts around like a scared rabbit. When our gazes finally meet, the chain reaction is unstoppable. Gosh. Those noises. Okay, she stands up forcefully from the beanbag and takes a deep breath. I... I've gotta go do something. It's like one word. Okay, without warning, Hanako takes off and runs towards the counter. Her hair-like takeoff catches me so off guard that I don't manage to go after her until she has had a good head start. By the time I reach the counter, she is nowhere to be seen. Lily and Yuko are happily chatting away. Knowing that I won't be able to catch Hanako myself, I approach the girls. Hey, did you notice a girl run past here? Maybe. What does she look like? Long, dark hair, kinda shy. She had, well, some scars on her face. You wouldn't be talking about Hanako, would you? Yeah, that's her. I saw her reading and tried to talk to her, but I think I scared her off or something. Oh dear. Yuko, would you excuse me? I'd better try and find her. Oh, so they know each other? Okay, sure. I'll just hold on to these until you come back. What's going on? I'm sorry, but I'll have to explain it to you some other time. Right, I'll see you later then. Lily hastily... You left me with this woman? Okay, Lily hastily grabs her cane and hurries out of the library, leaving me alone with Yuko. I don't think I'll ever get the hang of this place. Did I do something wrong? What did you do? Nothing, I was just looking for some books and then she got this fit and ran off. The most offending thing I can think of was that I might have looked at her general direction a few times. Well, she's a very timid girl. You have to be very careful around her. She can be very jumpy, I think. And she's not accustomed to talking with other people. Isn't that a bit strange? I wonder. It's just how she is, I think. Yuko doesn't sound all that convincing. Then again, maybe this is just the norm around here. Everyone has their own problems, or else they wouldn't be here. But how should I deal with these people? Forcing myself to act overly casually only makes me feel phony. Okay. It was just worded weird. Like I was supposed to be ignoring the elephant in the room. Yuko fidgets, looking like she wants to say something to that, but resists it. I think it's an elephant only if you feel that way. I guess she doesn't have a good sense of self-restraint. It makes me smile, and she blushes heavily. What? Did that sound stupid? No, it sounded really wise. I guess you're right. It's more about me than anyone else. Okay. Neither of us has anything to add, so Yuko fills the silence by shuffling some papers around. Again, for no reason. People who have papers on their desks really like doing that. Did you find any books? I should be closing soon. I mean, this library should be closing, but I have to do it. I hope that's not too inconvenient for you. Oh, yeah, I want some books, but I left them over there because I'll just go get them. I fetched my stack of books from beside the beanbags where Hanako and I were sitting and returned to the counter. Wow, you read a lot, don't you? I surprised myself with that too, honestly, at least when I really think about it. I had a lot of free time earlier this year, so I just kind of started reading books to fill that time. I couldn't do much else. I see. But she doesn't say anything else and just checks out my books for me. I guess this is what they call tact. Lindsay! Are you stupid? You saved everybody from a burglar, and then you do something like this. What is...